All right, guys, welcome back to Broke Bets. Here for UFC 299. Got our bets for you guys. Of course, got my co-host with me, Carson, as always.
Yo, what's going on? We got quite a bit of action on this card here.
Yes, sir. Coming off of Rosenstruik Gaziev. Got 3 fights wrong. I looked on Tapology. We placed really highly on that card just for picks. But went positive as well on the bets. It's always a good sign. And coming into this one, we got 7 bets for you guys. So let's just get right into this. First bet, Migel Ojic to beat Michel Pereira. The dog in the man. I just think he's gonna win the fight. He's gonna walk through pressure. We've seen Michel Pereira be able to fight these more pretty fights without people being directly in his face, and Ojic just walks through damage in order to deliver his powerful left hand pretty much. And I think outside of round one, I feel even more and more confident about Ojic. And I do even think a sprinkle on that knockout round 2 or 3 for Ojic is like a great idea. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Pereira will be dancing around the cage. I mean, he's never really been hit by 185 or so. Um, Him moving up in weight in his last fight, didn't get hit at all. So I think that power will be there for Olin Jacek, and I think he'll put him out later in that second or third round.
And look at what the size that Ojic had to deal with Chidi and Jokawani. I mean, that's a really rangy big dude that he, ate the shots from and just kept marching forward. So, similar to a guy like Benoit Saint Denis, really, I think is very similar in a way. Ojic just presses forward the same type of way. Obviously not the grappling approach, but left hands. Next, Jailton Almeida. Just he is just. I saw a picture the other day, and I sent this to Carson, and it was Derek Lewis and Jailton faced off, and man, Jailton looked so big, and Derek just weighs more because of the extra fat on his body, but Jailton's a big, fast heavyweight, a fast one like we've never seen. I don't think Blaydes is the fastest heavyweight, and when we come to the grappling here, I think Jailton's gonna shoot better takedowns. I think he's gonna have a much better ground game. And then obviously the submission side of it, all better there. And then obviously in the striking, it's going to be a little bit more of a toss-up, and we haven't seen Almeida there, but when you're winning so dominantly on the ground, I got to stick with him. So what do you think?
Yeah, you never his hype died down when he clearly won like 50 to 44. So I'm not too mad about that. Yeah, I think Curtis Blaydes. We've never really seen him against another grappler, but he was taken down like by Cody East a long time ago, and then Volkov took him down as well, and I think Almeida will be able to get him down here as well, and Blaydes will be turning his back at some point, and I think Almeida will be finding a submission at some point in this fight.
Right. And just, again, doesn't move like a heavyweight. I mean, you can see on Curtis Blaydes' body that he's a little bit of a heavier guy, still extremely fit, but I mean, Jailton's got that roid build to him, so I'm gonna pick up the guy I think's on roids. But yeah, next bet, Jack Della Maddalena. I think a lot of people feel a little bit on the fence of this fight because Gilbert Burns is a great grappler. Um, I feel very good about Jack Della Maddalena here. For one, Gilbert Burns, 37 years old, coming off of that shoulder injury, which I'm gonna assume it's recovered. It's probably gonna be fine, but it is something to think about. It keeps you out of training for a while. And Jackman, his ability to sit in the pocket and find the chin, mix it up to the body. I just think his hands are monumentally better than Gilbert Burns, where Gilbert Burns is more this older generation tough guy model of fighter, especially at welterweight. There's so many of them. Maddalena with his straight shots can be really punishing. And from what I've seen of Maddalena's grappling, other than pulling guillotines, it's actually looked pretty good in my opinion. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean Jack Della's hands are just phenomenal, and we've seen Burns be hurt by jabs and straight punches, and that's what Madalena does: just throws straight punches and works the body as well too. So, really love his boxing, and I think he'll be able to get Burns out of here. I mean, yeah, I mean back to back split decisions wins for Madalena, but I mean he arguably won 30-27 against Holland, and then Hafez, I
He
mean,
did
he
all the
did
damage in
clearly
that
did.
fight.
Yeah, he clearly did all the damage in that fight too. So as long as he's avoiding pulling those guillotines, which I think he will, I think he'll be doing far more damage here in this fight.
Right, and I like his also like cage control. He holds good ground in the cage, and a lot of the times where Burns getting his takedowns is on the fence versus all these guys like Masvidal and Woodley and the people he's made a career. Neil Magny, he's getting a lot of those takedowns on the cage. I think Jack can stay away from the cage a little bit better. So yeah, give me Jack. And then next, somehow I think this one's registering as unpopular with people, which I'm always just shocked by. Give me Dustin Poirier. Um, I get it. I like Benoit Saint Denis. Who doesn't? I also like Dustin Poirier. Who doesn't? I guess some people don't, but I don't understand why. Um, I just think experience wise, obviously everyone knows huge advantage on the Poirier side. Um, in these types of fights, and I'm not saying that Benoit is not gonna like come up to the moment and do bad, but I see some holes in his game. He uses that left kick super heavily, but he's facing a southpaw here where the leg kick might be his only way into the fight with that weapon, which is obviously still very dangerous, but Poirier's a little bit more hip to that now. Um, and I think boxing, I don't think Benoit Saint Denis' boxing looks too good. He boxes well because of his pressure mostly, but Dustin is good in the pocket in these wars, and I like Dustin just to find a KO later in the fight. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean Benoit's finished every single one of his wins, so most of them coming in that first or second round. I just think the longer this fight goes on, I think Poirier could take over, find a later round KO. Yeah, I mean his boxing is phenomenal. And 2 fights ago, Benoit was a slight favorite against Thiago Moises, and now he's a bigger favorite against Dustin Poirier. That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, I mean, obviously Poirier got KO'd in his last one, but it's still a huge jump up in competition for Benoit here. So,
Yeah,
give
and
me the experience and everything else here, man.
again, Benoit was -200, the same price versus Matt Frivola. I don't think Matt Frivola and Dustin Poirier are even comparable in terms of, the rankings, their resume, or their fight style. So, coming to this one, it's going to be very challenging. At plus 180, I think it's just an insane number. I made the statement on the other video that I felt like if Justin Gaethje was in this fight, who in my opinion, at least that Dustin Poirier Justin Gaethje fight was a little bit of a 50-50 type fight. I feel like if Justin Gaethje was in this, he would be like a -250 versus Benoit Saint Denis. Obviously, his grappling is a little better, and that's another part of this fight. The grappling is a big question. I like that Poirier's been training with Mateus Gamrot, and I think that's going to be a huge help in a grappling approach as well. So, anyway, too much talking on that one by me. Prop bets. Felipe leans and Ian Cutelaba the under 1.5. Now we got screwed on this one. This fight was supposed to happen like 3 months ago, and we got it at plus 110, and we beat all the line movement. It shifted a ton in our favor, and then the fight got canceled. Now we're getting it at -140. I'm still of the opinion anytime you get an Ion Cutelaba fight, you take the under 1.5. Just then you factor in that this is in front of a crowd. I think he's just gonna be going ballistic. Whether he finds a finish, whether he gets finished, I think it's all out there to happen. So what do you think? What do you think here?
Yeah, I mean it's a Ion Kutalaba fight. I mean he's gonna go balls to the wall for that finish in that first round, and then if he doesn't get it, he's gonna gas himself out and get finished himself, either late in that first round or early in that second round too. So, yeah, it's obviously Cutela special here.
Right, and Lean's he's been stinging people here at light heavyweight with his hands. I think some other people were, commenting on his form at heavyweight. It's like, yeah, it wasn't that great. I still don't think he's an amazing fighter, but I think either of these guys can easily clip each other here. So next, the main event to go the distance, Sean O'Malley and Cheeto. Sean O'Malley will have to fight this fight in the first 2 or 3 rounds, like real slow in my opinion. I mean, you look at the Pedro Munoz fight, you look at the Aljo fight. He started very slow in these fights, and if he's gonna start so fast against someone like Cheeto Vera, who's insanely durable, he doesn't want to risk losing that speed later in the fight where he's vulnerable to then being finished. And even in an interview on the embedded series, I saw him say something like they were interviewing him like, "Are you gonna get a finish in this fight?" And he's like, "Well, it's really tough because Cheeto's never been finished before, and I want to do it." It's like, well, you're kind of making your excuse already not to finish him. It seems like so. I think he paces it slowly. We already know Cheeto takes the first couple rounds off. Um, and it maybe will get exciting towards the end, but I like this one to go the distance. So
Yeah, I mean, like this bet too. Obviously, Cheeto's never been finished, and yeah, I see O'Malley starting out slow just so he has some cardio left, and because I mean he's never had a fourth or fifth round, yeah, I mean, um, O'Malley's obviously um, wanting to be able to go to those later rounds as well, saving some cardio
right.
time. So.
I'm not that worried actually about Sean finishing Cheeto, like not even
Yeah, it'd be
hardly
the other way
concerned at
around.
all. I'm more
I'd
concerned
be
about
more.
Cheeto like just going shin to shin or breaking his forearms just because he's a big, strong, dense dude, and I feel like that's more the threatening side. So, but yeah. And then finally, to end everything off, well, it's actually gonna be towards the start of the card because this card's so fucking good. We got Rebellious, Despan, and Josh Parisian going under 1.5 rounds, with the Munoz and Kyler Phillips fight going over 2.5 rounds. Now, I just think that this Rebellious guy should be able to run right through Josh Parisian. He's just been known as a punching bag at heavyweight and a fat slob. Um, there's a scare that Josh Parisian could get a takedown, which I've never seen him actually shoot a good one before. So there's a chance that could happen. But overall, if you're just going to take speed, reach, power, all these things into factor, I think he's going to get knocked out so fast. And that under 1.5, I think I've actually these numbers flipped, but that under 1.5, um, at minus 250 is like better than playing his money line, because if he's gonna win inside that 1.5 rounds, I would assume, right? And then
Yeah, I think I saw like maybe his first round KO was like minus 200. It's
right,
like
right,
pretty much the same price. It's
yeah, it feels foolish to go outside of the under 1.5.
yeah,
And if he gets taken down in round one, that means he's getting up for round two, and he might just get a quick KO then. So, um, Pedro Munoz, the Kyler Phillips. Pedro Munoz never been finished. Kyler Phillips dangerous, but even Munoz likes to play the counter game a lot, so this could just be a little bit slow. And we beat a ton of line movements. Now like minus 300 for that over 2.5.
yeah. Neither one of these guys have never been finished before, so uh, yeah, I think that kind of goes without saying there. I think this one goes the distance here.
Yeah, so those are the bets on this card. Some other things I like to look at. I think Kevin Holland's a decent bet. However, I can't trust him with my money. Um, God, is there anything else I'm looking at? Asu Almabayev, by submission is a good option. And Marina Moroz by just winning her money line. I think it's a decent option. Although I'm just not trying to do those. So maybe a side parlay or something fun, but who knows?
Yeah, possibly on the Patreon have some long shots and some off the record prop bets too that we like.
Yes, sir. I'll announce one as a teaser. I think Cheeto Vera by decision will be something I put a little bit of money on. Plus 700 people. I mean, for how I just explained, I think the fight's gonna happen, and we get a weird, funky scorecard. who knows? So anyway, anything else from you?
No, sir.
All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.